environment that feels safe. And for those outside the Lincoln area, they do ship across the country and are happy to work with anyone near or far with lights anywhere from 18 inches to 110 inches. Enhance your curb appeal with an exquisite tailored light today. Call 402-432-2572 or go to tailoredlights.com.
Allo is here to give you the FYI. Are your shows buffering? We know why. Are your games lagging? Don't deny. Are your work calls dropping? Here's the FYI. Your old school internet company can't keep up. They give it a try. Their network isn't enough. Don't get trapped in their gimmicks and lies. It's time to fiber your internet with Allo. Honest, local, and hassle-free is what we stand by. Experience Allo Internet. Visit allofiber.com/FYI.
It takes a great game plan to win a football game each week, and right now, it's time to plan a trip to get a new car at Mullen Motors. Just like on the football field, there's a wall of defense on the way to Mullen Motors. 48th Street is under construction from Layton all the way to Cornhusker Highway. But the lot at Mullen Motors is full of tons of great vehicles to drive home this fall for the ultimate touchdown. Mullen Motors, still open through road construction at 48th and Walker.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top shelf liquor to crowd favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
This is Adam Carriker on the ticket.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, first and 20, tail break screen in the air. It is tipped, it is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here's your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome, everybody, to Adam Carriker on the Ticket, a Friday edition, heading in to the Louisiana Tech football game. I said La Tech to somebody the other day. When they're like, who's Nebraska play? I was like, La Tech. They're like, who? Who's that? Oh, Louisiana Tech. I'm so used to abbreviating everything when you type things out for Twitter and texts, and even coming up with YouTube headlines is challenging for a wordy individual like me. You only get 100 characters. That drives me nuts. So now I speak in abbreviations, apparently, because I'm used to writing in them or texting or whatever the case may be. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a loaded Saturday of college football. There are actually 10 games, and of course, Nebraska versus La Tech is one of the games that I absolutely want to talk about. We got 10 games I want to talk about over the next 25 minutes or so. Okay, 7 games, ranked versus ranked teams. Then we got a Big Ten game. Okay, a couple of Big Ten foes tonight, Wisconsin and Purdue as well. Then you've got Florida State versus, let me double check this. It's still hard for me. Yep, Clemson still isn't ranked. Okay, that still hasn't changed. And then obviously Nebraska versus La Tech. We're going to chat about, preview, talk about over the next 25 to 30 minutes. And then at 12:30, I'm going to be joined by former Notre Dame captain and linebacker and football positional trainer, okay, Mr. Mike Goolsby. Now, this is a guy who lives in Nebraska, lives in Omaha. He trains high school athletes. He trains football athletes. He trains people in general, but he trains them on how to get to the next level in football. And so that's what intrigued me. He's actually trained guys like Kobe Bretz, who's on the Huskers right now, and a couple other guys as well. And so I want to talk to him. Hey, if you're a high school coach, if you're a high school player, if you're the parent of a high school player, if you're a middle school player getting ready to go to high school with dreams and ambitions and hopes of playing beyond high school, how do you do that? Like, what's the best way physically to prepare? What's the best way to get ready? And so I figured, thought he'd be a great sounding board, a person with great knowledge, because that's kind of what he does for a living, to chat about. So he'll join me at 12:30. And as always, all right, last 10 minutes of the show, the people segment. Now do me a favor right now, before you forget, 402-464-5685. If you got a question, a comment, a concern, whatever the case may be, especially questions. I like questions, okay? 402-464-5685. Text or call, and we'll get to those last 10 minutes of the show during the people segment. All right, before we light this candle, dive right in and talk a little bit, a whole lot of bit, a gigantic a bit of college football. You've probably driven by GE Landscape Supply countless times, likely without even knowing it. 6701 Cornhusker Highway. Now it's time to stop in. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. They sell in bulk to save you money. Buy anything from a 5-gallon bucket to a semi-load. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere, nearby or far away. Stop by at 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mondays to Friday, and 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Go to gelandscapesupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627. All right, let's start talking about some of these college football games. And yes, we will obviously talk about Nebraska's game. I want to start right off the top with a game that's going on tonight, a Big Ten matchup, a Big Ten West matchup, at least for one more year until we get rid of those divisions. Okay, we got Wisconsin and Purdue. All right, Wisconsin's a 5.5-point favorite. So they want to spread it out. They're bringing in a new offense. Obviously got the new head coach, Luke Fickell. They want to throw the ball a little bit more. All right. They are who they are, and it's going to be a bit of a transitional period. All right, their first game of the year, they rushed for over 300 yards, and they haven't exactly been lighting up the scoreboard when it comes to throwing the ball and a bunch of points, but they can still run the ball. And honestly, they're not using their running backs enough, in my opinion. Okay, but this is still going to be a Wisconsin team that's a pretty good team. I know they went up to WSU, Washington State, Cougars, Martin Stadium. The first time Washington State had hosted a Power 5 opponent on their home field in the non-conference since 1998, 25 year. And the Cougars came out with the victory, all right, on that particular day. The mighty Pac-2 overcame the mighty Big Ten on that particular day. But Wisconsin still got a pretty good football team. They can still ground and pound. They're still disciplined, playing solid defense. Purdue, they're going to have a rough year one. They're already having a rough year one. They bring in a defensive-minded head coach, and the first thing that happens is Fresno State lights them up, beats them the first game of the year, throws the ball all over the yard for over 400 pass yards. So Wisconsin, 5.5-point favorite. I think they win by at least that much this evening. All right, the next game on my list is Florida State. Number 4, Florida State. And for those, all right, who listen to me or don't, whatever the case may be, yes, 95% of the time I talk Nebraska football. But for those who do listen to me, you're aware that I just love college football in general. I just love football in general. It's one of the reasons I've agreed to do the Big Ten show this year, which has been airing here on 93.7 The Ticket every Thursday, okay? I love college football in general. So this is like an unprecedented weekend of college football with great games, great matchups. It'd be a terrible miss if we didn't talk about some of these games. You got number 4, Florida State, going to Clemson. Now, when I saw the spread for this, I was surprised. They're only favored by 2. This is a Florida State team that beat LSU by 3 or 4 touchdowns. Okay, this is a Clemson team that lost to Duke, not in basketball, in football, 28-7. And yet they're only a 2-point favorite. So I was immediately like, what in the blue hell is going on with this point spread? Something doesn't make any sense. So first, all right, Clemson has actually beaten Florida State 7 straight times. All right, okay. I don't know. I guess I know what that has to do with this year because, maybe that's in the back of the minds of some of these players on both sides. All right. It's at Clemson. They have a great home field advantage. The place is going to be going crazy. Okay, I get that. All right, Clemson, I guarantee, is going to be motivated. They were embarrassed by that loss to Duke. They've looked great against nobodies. No disrespect. I guess it's not very respectful, but with all due respect, now I can say what I really feel. I guess that's how the English language works. To nobodies, they've looked great since. Okay, and you look at Florida State. This is a team that went up to Boston College, pulled away a little bit late, but didn't look great for a while, and frankly got outplayed in the first half, and Boston College just shot themselves in both feet, plus both hips and both quads with how many penalties they had. Okay, and then the game ended up actually being a lot closer. than it really should have been because Florida State was pulling away, and then Boston College made it interesting. This is a Boston College team that lost to Northern Illinois, who we just trounced last weekend, especially in the second half. It's college football. You never know who's going to show up. All right, I don't get the 2-point spread. I've tried to justify it and make it make sense. Florida State, and I do think this is an exciting game for a while because the crowd will be hyped. Clemson will be motivated. You would sure think Florida State would be motivated after the way things were way more interesting last weekend than they should have been against Boston College at times, and then also losing 7 in a row. Now, I got Florida State, and I don't have it single digits. Next up, okay, we got, and this is the last matchup of non-ranked teams, but I thought this was interesting because it's 2 Big 12 foes for a season. You got the new Big 12 team in Cincinnati versus the old Big 12 team that's getting out of Dodge in Oklahoma, and I just thought it was kind of an intriguing matchup for that reason alone. And also, the last time these two teams played, okay, was in 2010 in Oklahoma, but Oklahoma only won by 2 points. So it was 31-29. So this could be an intriguing game. A Cincinnati team, all right, that had a disappointing loss to Miami of Ohio. Last Saturday, they were double-digit favorites and went out and lost. So I got to assume they're going to be playing like their hair is on fire. I'm curious how interested Oklahoma is to even be in this game. Okay, if they thought the Big 12 was their little brother, then what does that make Cincinnati in their eyes? So Oklahoma, number 16 in the country, they're a 14.5-point favorite. I am going to go with Oklahoma, all right, to win this game. But I do think, I mean, the over-under 61 points. I do think this is going to be kind of an entertaining type game, maybe a few more points scored than Oklahoma would like. But I'm going to go with Oklahoma. All right, now we got the ranked games. We got 7 straight ranked games. We got Colorado, number 19, the most popular team in America, America's team and all that crap. All right, we can poke people in the eye, but we're not dirty. But, another guy makes a hit like he does and, Earth has to explode. All right, number 19, Colorado at number 10, Oregon. This is really Coach Prime, his first big test. I know TCU, okay, and obviously we were hoping we would have a chance to win when we went into Boulder versus Nebraska, and I know CSU went into overtime. But when you're talking about like a legit test, this is Colorado's first legit test. Now, you want to talk about points being scored. The over-under on this is 70.5, and I'm taking the over, regardless of who wins. And Oregon is favored by 21 points. Now, here's the deal. I mean, sure, Colorado has a chance, and they've got one of the best quarterbacks in the country, a true Heisman contender, a 2 top 10 possible NFL draft pick, okay, coming up in the NFL draft. And I know Deion said something earlier this week about how Shitter's probably going to stay in college. Well, yeah, he's probably going to get like $5 million for NIL. So that makes that decision a lot easier if he can play for his dad for one more year. The only football coach he's ever played for in his entire life. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I am intrigued what happens when he goes to the NFL and he does have to play for somebody else. But that's a story for another day. Colorado, and I don't even know if they have the edge at quarterback because Oregon still has Bo Nix on his 29th year of eligibility. I mean, this is a dude who started as a freshman 29 years ago, give or take, 25 years one way or the other, at Auburn. And then the moment he stepped on the field in Eugene at Autzen Stadium, okay, which is a gorgeous place, I might add, all right, he was a starter there. This is a dude who has started since day one in the SEC, now to the Pac-12, started for years. So I think Shedeur might have the edge over Bo, but it's not gargantuan. Okay, it's marginal probably at this point. All right, you look at what Oregon's advantages are. They have the advantage in the trenches. They have the advantage on defense. They have the advantage in the running game. They pretty much have the advantage in every way, shape, or form, except possibly quarterback and offensive skill positions, which is what Oregon's known for. That's just the only area where I feel like Colorado, skill-wise, might have a little bit of an edge. But here's why Oregon's favored by 21 points. And that's why Oregon's favored by 21 points. But here's why Colorado could make it interesting. And I'm picking Oregon. And I'll take the 21. They have this belief that is just crazy. The way they walk around, their body language, the way, you want to call them the new Miami of the late 80s, early 90s without any championships at this point anyways. But just the way they conduct themselves. There is a swagger and a belief, and they have bought in. And anytime you have that, you have a puncher's chance, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, if you're watching on YouTube, okay, yes, my fingernails are painted because my twin daughters said, "Hey, Daddy, can you come tell us what?" Or they were looking at their earrings. "Hey, can you come tell us what your favorite earrings are?" And then before I knew it, they like had the fingernail polish out, and they had done my one pinky, and they were like, "Can we do all your fingernails?" And I was like, "Well, sure. I'm sitting here looking at 8-year-olds' earrings. Why not just throw some fingernail polish on all my fingernails?" So that is what it is. You know, I was coaching my son's 8th grade football team last night. They sure thought it was entertaining, but I digress. Oregon should win. Oregon should win in a shootout. This should be an amazing, entertaining game to watch. I do think Colorado keeps it interesting because of their insane confidence and swagger that they have. You look at Ole Miss, number 15 in the country. So I haven't been saying some of these rankings. All right, Florida State was number 4, Oklahoma number 16, Colorado number 19, Oregon's top 10, number 10 in the country, UCLA number 22 versus number 11 Utah. Utah's a 4.5-point favorite. Okay, I'm going to start to speed things up a little bit. Utah basically dismantled Florida in the first game of the season. Then they beat another Power 5 team in Baylor 20-13. You've got UCLA, who's looked really good but hasn't played anybody. I'm going to go with Utah. They've been consistent over time. They play physical smash mouth football, and they've got some more athletes this year than they've had in recent years. Number 15, you got Ole Miss, number 15 versus number 13, Alabama. Now, Nick Saban's still looking for his quarterback. And up until now, ladies and gentlemen, I have taken the favorite in each and every game. This is my first upset. All right, prediction that I've got. Alabama's favored by 6.5. I got Ole Miss. Ole Miss, I mean, they played a ranked team, Tulane. They beat them 37-20. I mean, Alabama struggled. I mean, Texas was clearly the better team that night, but Alabama struggled last week versus USF, and Alabama's at home, and very, very well may win this game because they have better all-around talent and athletes. But the quarterback position is a kerfunkelum for them right now, and I just made up a word trying to describe what their quarterback position is. So that tells you what their quarterback position and decision and what they're trying to figure out at that position is for them right now. All right, next up, you got Oregon State, number 14 versus number 21, Washington State, the mighty Pac-2. These are the two teams left in the mighty Pac-2. This is for the Pac-2 championship, and it's actually between two really good football teams. All right, Oregon State last year went 10-3, and you want to talk about dominating Florida. They beat them 30-3 in the bowl game. You got a Washington State team who beat CSU, Colorado State, who doesn't look half bad now after that Colorado game, beat them 50-24, and then went into then hosted Wisconsin, the game I mentioned earlier, beat the Badgers 31-22. This is probably the toughest game of all these for me to do my prediction. I say as I'm probably not even going to go 50% on getting these right, but I'm going to take Oregon State. Okay, next up. These are probably the three most intriguing games for people listening to this show. Number 6, Ohio State. Number 9, Notre Dame. Top 10 matchup. 2 of the 10 most wreckable, probably 2 of the top 5 most recognizable college football brands of all time. All right, this is where game day is going to be. Ohio State has the more talented roster, more athletic, okay? But Notre Dame is more physical. They are more blue collar. They're going to run the ball better. They're going to be better at football. Now, Ohio State's playing really good defense this year. I'll give them that credit so far against the teams they have played, which aren't phenomenal competition. You look at Notre Dame, I mean, at least they were tested on the road at NC State, looked pretty good. I think the difference really comes down to the quarterback position. A Wake Forest transfer, Sam Hartman, gives Notre Dame, along with just being more physical, okay, and just better at football right now, in my opinion, the advantage over Kyle McCord, who's only been Ohio State's proclaimed starter for one whole week now. This will be his second start as the proclaimed starter at quarterback for the Buckeyes. So I'm going to go with Notre Dame in the upset there. There's another upset prediction I've got. All right, the incredibly explosive, dominating, highly entertaining Iowa offense. All right, they're a punt waiting to happen at any point in time in any game. Watch out now. All right, I joke, but they're actually averaging 28.33 points per game so far. And in their last game, I mean, I forget who they even played, but they were clearly going to win. They didn't need to do anything. They could have just taken a knee, but oh no, they were going to get those extra points. Baby Ferentz got to keep that job. All right, number 7, Penn State versus number 24, Iowa. Sorry. Penn State's a 14.5-point favorite. My prediction, you got Cade McNamara versus Drew Aller at the quarterback position. You've got maybe the most explosive team in the Big Ten versus the antithesis, one of the least explosive teams in the Big Ten in Iowa. They both play good defense, probably might even give the edge to defense to Iowa, possibly. But I have Penn State 28, Iowa 14. And if this score prediction is correct, I was just curious. If this is the final score, 28-14, Iowa would then, after 4 games, be averaging 24.75 points per game. I don't know. When we're determining if Baby Ferentz keeps his job for that 25 points per game contract that he signed before the season, do we round or do we not? I don't know. It seems kind of important. All right, we got a commercial break coming up. Here's what we're going to do, because obviously I got to talk Nebraska football. All right. We are going to be joined by my guest at 12:30. Okay, again, that's Mike Goolsby, former Notre Dame captain, linebacker, and football positional trainer now. And then the last 10 minutes, send me your questions, comments, concerns during the people segment. Okay, I will answer those, but we will also get to previewing and predicting Nebraska versus Louisiana Tech this Saturday. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Acres, your John Deere dealer, is offering hot financing on all new compact tractors. For a limited time, get 0% interest for 84 months when you buy any new John Deere compact tractor. And with a variety of attachments, you'll make quick work of chores around your acreage. From mowing to grading and moving large loads, Acres has a John Deere tractor to handle your toughest projects. Don't delay. Visit your local Acres store to take advantage of this great offer. Acres, solutions for every field. Offer expires September 30th, 2023, subject to approved credit with John Deere Financial.
If you're not going to Memorial Stadium for a home game and don't have any travel plans for away games, there's a great place in Omaha to catch the action, the Inner Rail Food Hall. There's plenty of space. The Backstretch Bar has amazing game specials on game days. $15 Blue Moon and Bud Light pitchers, $6 margaritas, and $6 Moscow Mules. And if you're hungry, take in some of their great options from their game day pizza specials. Do football game day right in the Inner Rail Food Hall in Exarban Village in Omaha.
The Nebraska Lottery offers up a lot of fun with a variety of daily games like Nebraska Pick 3, 2x2, and My Day. How much fun, you ask? Think of it like riding a roller coaster, sitting next to your favorite rock star, or discovering a bunch of cash under your seat.
Yeah!
Sound fun? Then play today.
Nebraska Pick 3, 2x2, and My Day top prize odds vary by game.
Warning, this ad will use the F word often, so listen at your own risk. Family fun, fun with friends, freedom from fuel, free Yeti cooler, free driveway delivery. Hey, this is Carl from Nebraska Golf Carts and Priced Right Auto, and we have the all-electric Bentelli Fun Carts, and they are a blast. Plenty of fun colors, and these street-legal carts come in both 4 and 6 passenger. Tell us you heard us on the ticket and get a free Yeti cooler with your purchase. Hurry, supply is limited. Check them out at 1235 West O in Lincoln or NebraskaGolfCarts.com.
Is your backyard ready for fun with friends and family this fall? GE Landscape Supply has pavers and boulders, which are a great accent for any backyard landscaping project. And you can find them at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere, nearby or far away. Stop by 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday and 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Go to GELandscapesupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627.
Repeat after me. I will not touch the fuse box.
I will probably not touch the fuse box.
Sip, do you remember what happened last time?
Yeah, I remember.
What happened?
Half of the city block lost power.
And?
My chicken condo went haywire.
That's right. The chickens ran wild. So what do we do instead?
Call Joe at Ambition Electric and let him handle everything. Look, saved on speed dial.
Ambition Electric, 402-217-3415 or online at ambitionelectric.com.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top shelf liquor to
It's the power of earning up to 5.5% APY on your Kasasa Cash with Liberty First Credit Union. Earn rewards beginning at a penny, continuing up to $40,000. Visit libertyfirstcu.com for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Account qualifications apply.
You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Adam Carriker on The Ticket, and I am joined by my special guest today. All right, he's a former Notre Dame captain and linebacker. He's a football positional trainer and the host of the Mike Goolsby Show. Mr. Mike Goolsby, how you doing, my friend?
Adam, how are you, sir?
Hey, man, I'm doing good, and I appreciate you taking the time. So there's a lot of things we can chat about, but I want to start off with you train high school football players, okay? And I assume to be the best high school football players they can, but also in hopes of getting a shot at college and then also being good college football players. So if there's a high school football player out there right now, coach or someone who's listening, what are some of the biggest tips you would give them on how to enhance their game for high school and or the next level?
Wow, that's could be a multi-faceted answer, Adam.
Yeah.
But I think, it's just interesting because you and I kind of came from the same generation, right? You're 39, I'm 41.
Yeah.
It's a change. The whole dynamic has changed. I think primarily, brother, it starts with wanting to be great, right? And then beyond that, sometimes it helps. This is kind of what I do for a lot of my kids. It helps if you get somebody in your corner, whether it's your high school coach, whether it's whomever, but identify things and areas that you have to improve upon to play at that next level. So like I tend to look at things through the lens of a college coach. When I look at a kid's film and I find kids that I want to work with, it's like, you could see the physical potential, but there's just a couple aspects of their game they've got to clean up. So if a kid wants to be great, they've got to be able to take some constructive criticism, find the areas of improvement, and go to work on those. Because I think a lot of kids are willing to lift and they're willing to run. But in actuality, sometimes, Adam, they're just spinning their wheels. It's like, let's be a little bit more focused on X part of my game. So that'd be my in this format, that'd be my quick and dirty answer. How's that?
Yeah, you're good. So I'm joined on the LOVIP line by Mike Goolsby. So, okay, and I want to get into a couple of if you were to prioritize specific lifts or speed and agility training, what that would be. But it's interesting because everywhere I got 6 kids, they're all in sports, and everywhere I go, I mean, people don't even hide it anymore. My daughter's 10U competitive softball coach put out an email where he basically just outlined every single daughter or every single player on this team wants to go play college softball. He just outlined it. Like, he was so brazen about it, which is interesting because I looked at my wife and I was like, Trinity wants to go play college softball? Have we ever discussed? I don't have any clue about this. Maybe she does or she doesn't, but we didn't know. But I try to tell people, because everyone trains from the neck down. Like, that is what everybody does. But man, 19 times out of 20, 95% of the time, it's the neck up that makes the difference. Once you get to the level what everybody's talented, then what's the difference maker? It's the neck up. So what are some of the pieces of advice that you would give beyond weightlifting, beyond speed and agility, some of the things that maybe people don't realize or get overlooked that you think would help some of these high school athletes as they're trying to take their game to the next level?
Yeah, so football specific, right? So football specific. Let's just talk about a highlight tape, Adam. So these kids, in no fault of their own, they're going to put together a highlight tape. And here, this is me scoring a touchdown, and this is me getting a sack. They come on a blitz as a linebacker, and I got a sack. And if you look at the thing through a critical lens, like a college coach and evaluator is going to do, it's like, brother, you came unblocked on that blitz. So the result of the play is a sack, which looks good on the stat sheet. But it's not so much like that's the piece of advice. It's not so much the play that was made. It was how you look making said play. So you might get a bad read, and then you got to end up chasing the ball carrier down, and it's a 35-yard gain, but you ran the kid down. It's not as good as a tackle for loss, but you look more athletic running that kid down. So that's a big piece of advice. And then, I mean, you know this. I had a couple cups of coffee in the league. You know, you had a great NFL career, first-round pick. The farther you take any given sport, the technique matters more, because at that level, I mean, guys are elite. You're going up against a 31-year-old offensive tackle. He's seen everything. So it's like, I got to be a little bit quicker, and my technique has to be that much better than theirs. So outside of the lifting and the running, it's technique. You know, I put my hand here, I better footwork here, you know, efficiency. I call it economy of motion, no false steps. And then the only other thing, like, as far as, you know, training, and this is, again, football specific, the game has changed where back when you and I played, you know, I was a 250-pound inside linebacker. Nowadays, I'd have my hand in the ground. College coaches are looking for, like, long striders, right? Not overly bulky players. You look at, I use Travis Kelce as an example all the time. Travis Kelce isn't a muscle-bound dude, but he's a super fluid athlete. He's a long strider, covers a lot of ground. That's what these coaches are looking for nowadays. It's like they almost took the sport of basketball and transferred it over to the football field. They want length and they want fluidity and athletes that can cover a lot of ground. And sometimes high school kids will get, you know, they've got all that testosterone, the testosterone levels of a 16-year-old, they get so hyper-focused on the weight room. And a lot of times that can detract from your overall athleticism and what those coaches are looking for in an athlete.
It's funny you talk about long striders. Long striders, it's funny because if you're just watching people run, it's kind of like very rarely does a tall guy win the dunk contest. It's almost always the shorter guy who might do the same exact dunk, but all that air underneath the feet looks that much more impressive. And so he might get the nod via the judges. You know, long striders a lot of times don't look as impressive as someone else who's maybe taking more strides, but not as long. And I'm not, you know, knocking one way or the other. Just, I was a long strider, and I can't tell you how many times somebody was like, "You look slow." I was like, "Okay, sure. I may not be the fastest guy, but would you like to race, or do you want to look at the time?" Like, so it's funny that you bring up the long strider thing, because I have personally heard that my entire life. It's just not as impressive looking, but you can actually cover more ground with less strides for obvious reasons. So, okay, so talk to me about some of the guys that you have worked with that the folks at home may or may not recognize, whether they're currently on the Huskers or they're elsewhere. Who are some of the guys you've worked with, and some of the things that kind of help those guys make it to the next level? Like, what stood out to you about them?
Yeah, gosh, I mean, like your new fullback, Barrett Liebentritt, he's one of my kids. You know, Kobe Brett, kid I'm very, very proud of, very close with. You know, he's a second string safety for you guys. And I mean, I think in terms of, you know, NFL traits, I mean, Kobe's got him. I think he's your biggest, fastest safety, and he's had some injuries, and he's come such a long way. Super proud of him. I mean, Thomas Fedoni, I was blessed to work with him. I saw him in a 7-on-7 environment. He was playing wide receiver back then, and I'm like, brother, I'm looking at his frame, et cetera. It's like, dude, did anybody ever talk to you about playing tight end? So kind of helped him make that transition. You know, AJ Rounds is a Creighton prep kid, went in as a tight end and worked with him this summer at, you know, the defensive end position. So there's a handful of kids that play for the Huskers that I've been fortunate enough to work with. And I've got a good relationship with the current staff. But yeah, like high school kids, like Caleb Pifrom is a kid that's going to U of I, offensive tackle from Omaha Central. These are just, you know, recent kids. You know, Caleb's father is 6'11", played basketball at Creighton. Caleb thought he was going to be a hooper, and I just begged that kid for, Adam, damn near 6 months, like, come work with me. So we spent a summer, and I trained him all throughout the course of his season. First kid that ever actually wanted to work during the season. You know, he's a Super 6 kid. J.R. Lacuna is a kid, Millard South defensive end. I worked with him for 2 years. Super proud of him. And with like a JR had to work on, was really opening up his hips. You know, I got him down to running. He's running like a 1-5 10-yard split. You know, not an overly gifted genetically type kid. He's just a kid that takes everything you say to heart and can take coaching and can really implement things. So I don't work with a lot of kids. You know, I'm kind of selective. I do this on the side. So I'll kind of find kids through my Twitter feed or what have you, and I'll reach out to them because you see they've got a little bit of untapped potential. You know, Adam, again, having spent time in the league, I mean, genetics matters, right? So in college football, genetics, NFL genetics, I mean, it's a trait-driven business. So you look for those kids that have some of those traits and really just try and help them, clean up their game. And the other piece you mentioned, from the neck up, kind of explaining to these kids the mentality that they ought to have, how competitive this is. All these kids want to go play D1. It's like, well, you say you do. Are you willing to take the steps to make that a reality? So I think that's a real important piece, is kind of laying out a roadmap of what this is going to look like. And then lastly, Adam, it sounds crazy, but like breeding confidence into these kids. Like a Caleb Pythram, it's like, I can see something in you that you don't even know you have yet, and helping them foster that. And just like, I've been there, I've worked with dozens of kids that have gone on to do this. You're the next one, and you might not believe me yet, but we'll get you there.
That makes a lot of sense. A lot of times just the belief can lead to, if you believe you're going to do something, you're likely to work harder. If you believe you can be successful, your confidence is going to be higher. You're going to produce more. So that belief, it actually makes a lot of sense. When it comes to Thomas, one other thing I'll tell people, when it comes to the work ethic side of things and the mental approach to things, like, are you willing to do what other people aren't so you can become what they won't? And a lot of times that can be a difference maker as well. When it comes to Thomas Fidone, so he's had a couple of knee injuries. He looks like he's starting to, kind of find his stride, get back into his groove. I see he's still wearing the knee brace, and I'm a guy who went through things myself, so I understand. Talk to me about, because he was clocked at 21 miles an hour running a week or two ago. So talk to me about coming back from an injury like that. Obviously, his speed is just fine, and how that can impact someone mentally, or potentially a lot of times adversity can make you stronger. So Thomas a little bit. So talk to us about him coming back from that and how you think he's been playing so far this year.
I mean, in terms of my mentality, Thomas has that in spades, right? The conviction, the drive, the motor, the work ethic, the level of competitiveness, how serious he takes things. The last time, I haven't talked to Thomas in some time, and the last time I saw him, I was like, don't be afraid to rest. Adam, recovery is a big part of this, where you've got to get your work in, and you're going to go balls to the wall, but it's okay to, go eat a pizza and play some video games and just recuperate. This isn't going to happen overnight. You understand? So that was my kind of last message the last time I spoke to Thomas. And I'm just so proud of the way that he's handled the rehab and the stick-to-itiveness that he's continued to kind of carry through that rehab process. And I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, he was so highly rated, and that kind of happened for him overnight. He was a wide receiver, wasn't even on the radar, and then you wake up 8 months later and you're the number one, tight end prospect in the country. So folks got to keep in mind, he's still learning the nuances of the position. But in terms of going prior about traits, the kid's 6'5", 6'6", massive frame. He's got arms down to his knees. He's got bigger hands than Gronkowski. I mean, he's a special athlete, and I think he's going to have a super bright future.
All right, one last quick question, then we got to go to commercial break, because I said I would ask this, and it is part of it, okay? If you were to give, 2 lifts, 3 lifts, like, hey, you're an 8th grader, you're just kind of starting out, or whatever the case may be, a freshman, these are the 2 to 3 lifts that you need to focus on, get really good at, and then you can build a repertoire from there and your overall physical strength and whatnot. But what are the couple of 3 lifts that a young football player should focus on, especially if they're starting out or just trying to maximize their time in the gym?
So I'm gonna dodge the question a little bit, but high school kids love to lift weights, and it's fascinating. Kids at the high school age, their lower half, their thighs and such, will grow at a faster rate than their upper body does. As we mature as young men, as grown men, your upper body tends to catch up. So what I always argue with you're squatting, 400 pounds, but you're not addressing like your hip flexor. And at the end of the day, we got to be able to run. These coaches are recruiting athletes. Hard stop. So if you've got you're slapping 25 pounds of muscle to each one of your femurs and you're not developing your hip flexors, you're making yourself slower. So much of my training with athletes is either based around opening up their hips and or making that hip flexor stronger so they can get that leg drive so they can run and they can carry that additional, beef that they're packing on. So anything explosive, anything sort of explosive, whether it's cleans, a lot of stuff can be body weight, just get on the ground. But I'm a huge believer in training your hip flexor to almost like a track athlete. That's more so than the powerlifting. And we still have the kind of entrails of the whole Husker power thing where we live here in Nebraska. And it's like, I love the weight room and what it can teach you and how it can help you develop. But so much of my focus is on just developing an athlete versus a weight room warrior.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard him. Be an athlete, be willing to work hard, but be willing to be smart and enjoy life along the way as well. You can find him on Twitter. Also, check out the Mike Goolsby Show. If you're an athlete who's looking to take your game to the next level, check out Mike Goolsby. And I thank you for taking the time to join me, my friend.
Hey, it's been a pleasure, Adam. Let's do it again.
All right, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
A lot of businesses say that they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business feels anything but for your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, as they do with customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
This is Brian at Midwest Bank, and we've been proudly serving clients in the Lincoln community since 2008, and we're excited to open a second location in January 2024 at 70th and Pioneers Boulevard. Our new branch will provide all the convenient services you're looking for in a bank, along with the friendly staff we're known for. Whether you're starting a business or expanding your business, our team is here for you, your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Find out more at midwestbank.com, member FDIC.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest, quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show, powered by Sunbelt Rentals. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador, Select Plumbing, Jimmy John's, Lincoln Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits, Fleet Beef, Bure's Cheese Spread on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Several irrigation contractors in Lincoln go out of business every year, leaving sprinkler system orphans begging for service. The folks at Judson Irrigation shed a tear for these little fellas. They've been coddling these orphans for more than 40 years. From redesign, repairing, replacing, and restoring, remember the Judson Irrigation Orphanage.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Is your backyard ready for fun with friends and family this fall? GE Landscape Supply has pavers and boulders, which are a great accent for any backyard landscaping project, and you can find them at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere, nearby or far away. Stop by 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, and 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Go to GELandscapesupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627.
Brown Shoe Fit has all types of shoes for you to excel this fall. Check out their large variety of tennis shoes and dress shoes in brands like Brooks, Hoka, Merrell, On, and many more. Browns has the local professionals to get the proper fit, aided by their high-tech foot scanner by Atrex. Stop by Brown Shoe Fit today, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln, or check out their options online at brownshoefitco.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, showers and storms likely throughout the day. We'll see an afternoon high of around 78. Tonight we'll see another chance of showers and storms roll through with a low of around 67 and more showers and storms tomorrow. Better chance in the morning and the afternoon. Afternoon high should be around 81. Our meteorologist Kyle Cluck from 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com.
Tailored Lights is your go-to local manufacturer and installer of the best landscape lighting. Tailored Lights is excited to highlight the architecture of your home or business and provide a warm environment that feels safe. And for those outside the Lincoln area, they do ship across the country and are happy to work with anyone near or far with lights anywhere from 18 inches to 110 inches. Enhance your curb appeal with an exquisite tailored light today. Call 402-432-2572 or go to tailoredlights.com.
It's football season, and that means coaches everywhere are busy making game plans. I'm Matt Knipe with Liberty Law Group. Teams make game plans because no two opponents are the same. At Liberty Law, we understand that no two cases are the same. Whether facing a DUI, criminal charge, or you were injured and it wasn't your fault, we tailor our legal game plan to meet your unique needs. We are relentless trial attorneys serving all of Nebraska. To learn more, go to libertylawnebraska.com. That's libertylawnebraska.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a Friday edition of Adam Carriker on The Ticket. The people segment is here. We have questions. One of them legit got me to laugh. I literally actually LOL'd. All right. And then I'll give my final thoughts. La Tech, Louisiana Tech, was a 19.5-point underdog, at least the last time I looked, versus Nebraska this Saturday. Let's get to the questions. All right. So Bones says, seriously, I would like to see Coach Rule under 300 lip licks Saturday so I can win my prop bet. What do you think, AC? Well, are you going to be sitting there counting this, or how does that work? What exactly is the bet? It was my first thought. Like, is it the over under 300 lip licks? Is it that simple? Like, how are we keeping track of this? All this stuff, yes, I would like to see under 300, or that man's going to have some serious chap lip issues like we've never seen before. That's really all I got on that. Just thought that was a great question. And it was interesting because I didn't notice any of this the first two games. It was just really that the Northern Illinois game that I noticed he kept doing it so much. So who knows? Maybe he had some chap lips going into that game. Maybe running a little dry, a little low on the water. We'll see this Saturday. It's something to keep your eyes on. All right, Notorious BIB says, can we beat La Tech by just running the ball down their throats tomorrow? Or will we have to open up the playbook a little bit? Now, Louisiana Tech, this is a team with an explosive offense. This is a team that can put a lot of points on the board. Pardon me, my notes fell. I had to grab them really quick. All right, so Sonny Cumbie, all right, he was a former Tech. I knew I heard that name. He was a former Texas Tech quarterback, all right, a guy who threw for a lot of TDs back in his day. All right. Now, their run defense isn't phenomenal. They're allowing 205 rush yards a game. We're averaging, give or take, about 205 rush yards a game. We're averaging over 5 yards a carry. They're averaging giving up basically 5 or 4.9 yards per carry. We should be able to run the ball. And yes, Ramir Johnson, okay, Gabe Irvin, they're out. Wish them speedy recoveries. Now we're back to our starting running back from last year, who was the number 1 JUCO running back in the country and arguably the most explosive back that we have, give or take. Okay, I know Ramir's up there. I know Gabe does a lot of great things. We have other talented running backs as well in that room. But as long as, Anthony's holding on to the ball, I got all confidence in the world in his ability. And I'm actually excited. Okay, I'm excited to see what Emmett Johnson can do, and also Quentin Ives. Okay, a couple of freshmen. Emmett's a twitchy guy. He's a guy who's can make some big explosive runs on his own. I think the first half may be a little closer than fans would like. I think the quarterback, we'll see if Jeff Sims plays at all. If he starts, if he doesn't, what happens? I think the quarterback play is going to draw some attention. Maybe there's going to be a filling out process because of that in the first half. But I think the second half is going to look a lot like last week. I think it's a Louisiana Tech that wants to score, that doesn't care about stopping the run. We're an offense that doesn't care about throwing. We just want to run. I think we'll figure it out as the first half goes along. And then I think in the second half, we'll be the stronger team, the better strength and condition team, and we will end up pulling away. Okay, now this is a Louisiana Tech team. Again, I mentioned a couple times throughout this week at various spots, various shows. They were down 17, came back last week and made it interesting, so they're never out of a game. But yes, I think we can run the ball. I think us running the ball can, and will be the difference in this particular ball game. All right, Longsker says, what does Texas have to do against Baylor to keep their ranking or go up? So they're number 3 in the country right now. All right, you look at the teams ahead of them, and I would be surprised if, Michigan and Georgia would probably just have to outright lose or just look absolutely awful in their games, because those are like the 2 teams at the end of last year that looked like by far the best teams. They were the 2 teams coming into the season this year that were, hey, they're 1 and 2. Now who's 3, 4, 5, 6 after that? So I think in order for them to move, they're not going to drop unless they lose or if they look bad and Florida State just waxes Clemson pretty badly. I don't know that they're going to move up or down unless something drastic happens in their game. That's about the only way they're going to move up. Okay, something drastic would have to happen to the teams in front of them and in their game, or if they're going to go down, something drastic would have to happen in their game, and then Florida State would have to wax Clemson. I don't think Texas is going to move a whole lot. I think that's the most I've talked about a Texas football team in years. All right, so let's get to the final thoughts. We got a minute or 2 here left on this program. Now when it comes to Nebraska and LA Tech. Nebraska's defense is playing how you would want the Black Shirts to play. A lot of the reason there's been so much debate over the years on how to handle the Black Shirts is because the defenses hadn't been playing that well. Okay, so do they have them? Do they not? Do we take them away? When do we give them out? Like, when you're not playing well, it creates all these questions. There's been no questions this year. You know why? Because the Black Shirts are playing well. They're playing like the Black Shirts should play. There's no, should we take them away? Well, why in the world would you take them away? Have you watched the first 3 games? Okay, is there anybody who stood out that hasn't performed up to the level of a Black Shirt? Has the unit? No, they've looked really good. Obviously, they can get better in their pass defense overall, improve the 4-man rush, but they're still got 14 sacks on the season, towards the tops in the country, stopping the run, number 2 in the country, giving up 1.7 yards per carry, towards the top, towards getting after the quarterback. They can improve overall on the pass defense. I think they're like tied for 76 in the country. Okay, and better 4-man rushes. And if they can get there without having to bring so much pressure, that's going to help the overall pass defense. But they played really well. They are by far our best unit so far this year as an overall whole. Now, potential of some bad weather incoming. Who does that possibly favor? Well, it favors the team that wants to run the ball. So that would only help us. It favors the team that runs the ball and plays good defense. Well, who is that? That is not Louisiana Tech. That is us. So if there is any sort of weather, okay, bad weather or inclement weather or anything like that, that's only going to help Nebraska. Now you look at the running back situation. Again, I mentioned it. Anthony Grant's going to be the bell cow. Emmett Johnson. And Quentin Ives is, he's a big, powerful freshman back. He doesn't know the whole playbook yet. That's okay. Young guy, get in there quick, create a package for him. Maybe, 4th and inches, 3rd down, goal line. He could be perfect for that. Then you got Emmett Johnson as maybe a 3rd down back. And then you can rotate these two guys as Anthony carries the overall whole load. Easy for me to say. So my thoughts, first half could be similar. This game could mirror last week a lot. The first half, Husker fans weren't exactly enamored with everything they saw. Okay, there was some good, there was some bad. And then the second half, it is exactly what Husker fans wanted to see. This game could look a lot like that. And with the question marks is exactly how quarterback play is going to be handled. And I haven't talked about it a lot here today because I've talked about it a ton last week, this week. We're just going to see what happens at this point as they figure out the quarterback play or whatever's happening there. And we start to wear Louisiana Tech down. Maybe it's closer at halftime than fans would like, similar to Northern Illinois. But as long as the second half looks how it looked last week, and anytime you're hosting a radio show, ladies and gentlemen, always remember to turn your alarm off. My apologies on that. But also, I think the second half, we will be the bigger, faster, stronger, more well-conditioned team. And I think we will run the ball. Weather's not going to affect us. And I think Nebraska does end up winning 31-14. I think Louisiana Tech gets another cheap late touchdown on maybe some of the backups that get in the game for Nebraska on defense, but I'm okay with that. They need the experience. And until next time, Husker Nation, I'll see you on Monday at noon. Go Big Red. And always remember to throw the ball.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
If you're not going to Memorial Stadium for a home game and don't have any travel plans for away games, there's a great place in Omaha to catch the action, the Inner Rail Food Hall. There's plenty of space. The Backstretch Bar has amazing game specials on game days. $15 Blue Moon and Bud Light pitchers, $6 margaritas, and $6 Moscow Mules. And if you're hungry, take in some of their great options from their game day pizza specials. Do football game day right in the Inner Rail Food Hall in Exarban Village in Omaha.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Tailored Lights is your go-to local manufacturer and installer of the best landscape lighting. Tailored Lights is excited to highlight the architecture of your home or business and provide a warm environment that feels safe. And for those outside the Lincoln area, they do ship across the country and are happy to work with anyone near or far with lights anywhere from 18 inches to 110 inches. Enhance your curb appeal with an exquisite Tailored Light today. Call 402-432-2572 or go to tailoredlights.com.
The Nebraska Lottery offers up a lot of fun with a variety of daily games like Nebraska Pick 3, 2x2, and My Day. How much fun, you ask? Think of it like riding a roller coaster, sitting next to your favorite rock star, or discovering a bunch of cash under your seat.
Yeah!
Sound fun? Then play today.
Nebraska Pick 3, 2